What's going on, everybody? Welcome to a special episode 66 of Bettin and Boozin here on the HHH Racing Podcast. I, of course, am your host, Kyle Roscoe, and we're going to cover something a little bit different for you guys today. On Thursday, March 14th, which happens for you math people out there, including the boss, Howard Kravitz, is Pi Day, but it also is Turf Paradise Derby Day at Turf Paradise out in Arizona. And guys, this is actually a very, very good card. We're covering Oaklawn on Wednesday, but I couldn't let this not be covered on a week of the podcast where this falls on a Thursday where there's not much really going on betting wise. So why not bet a really good card or a really good late pick 5 sequence at Turf Paradise? And I'll show you guys right now, and then we'll go into some peripherals. Then we'll get straight into the handicapping. Is this going to be obviously a quick recorded show? But guys, I mean, look, the Cotton Fitzsimmons Stakes is a field of 9, a very competitive field of 9 with a 5-2 morning line favorite. The Arizona Oaks is 7, but then you get to the Turf Paradise Derby is 8. The Phoenix Gold Cup is 12, and the Queen of the Green Stakes is 10 again, guys. Just really big fields and really competitive card out in Arizona at Turf Paradise. And like I said, we just had to cover. We could not let this go by the wayside, especially as it's not a track that a lot of people don't get to cover very often and definitely doesn't get talked about. But we love to highlight these small level tracks on their big days. So let's go for the Turf Paradise Derby this Thursday, 3/14/24, of course, at Turf Paradise. But guys, going to go in real quick. Of course, as you see scrolling on the bottom side of the screen, bettinatboozin@gmail.com is where you can reach me. Questions, comments, concerns, anything of the above, please email me over there or DM me on Twitter and follow me over there at AP Roscoe K, or like Arlington Park Roscoe K. As you also see scrolling on the bottom of the screen, please go down below the video player, hit the like button, and hit subscribe, guys. We had a massive amount of support last week for the Tampa Bay Derby card that we covered. Could not thank you guys enough. We would not be here without you guys. So please continue to smash that like button and smash that subscribe button as Howard reached over 2,000 followers on X. Again, thank you guys for that. We wouldn't be here without you. But you'll see right there that shows are Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern. Our show, Bettin and Boozin's, Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Howard, Pete, and Paul for Picks and Ponies, Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern. And a full recap of the entire weekend will come the following Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern for Horsin Around. But guys, that is going to basically cover it. Again, Horsin Around on Mondays, as I touched on. Then the power picks, guys, please go patreon.com/HHH Racing Podcast. It's one of the most profitable and one of the most affordable pick sheets in all of racing. Only comes out to $4 a weekend. $15.99 a month is how it's billed. But you'll get 2 full tracks, everything you need to be successful on a weekend. Price plays, spot plays, pick 5 grids, anything, again, you need to be successful on a certain Saturday. It comes to you through the HHH Racing Podcast Power Picks. Again, patreon.com/HHH Racing Podcast, or it is below in the description. And if you want to see previous editions to kind of get yourself acquainted with the Power Picks, or want to learn anything about us, HHHRacingPodcast.com is the place to do it. And for all you audio listeners out there, this is posted wherever you get your podcasts, as well as every episode posted to the HHH Racing Podcast channel, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Anchor being the main 3. But of course, available wherever you get your podcast. But guys, let's get into this card right now, as it is very good. And of course, since it's just me, we're going to go through this pretty quickly. I'm aiming for about a 15-minute show. So let's get straight into it, guys. The first race in the late pick 5 on the Turf Paradise Derby Day on Thursday. I might say Saturday a few times just by sheer, habit. But either way, on Thursday, the Colton Fitzsimmons Stakes starts us off with even in Illinois, Brett. I didn't see that going through the first time here, but a field of 9 with a morning line favorite of number 2, War at Sea, for Ayuso coming in from California for Ron Ellis, and second choice Kimura also coming in from over there, and Jonathan Thomas shipping out to Turf Paradise, guys. And I thought that was very interesting, as I'll bring my picks up on the screen now. And that is who I ended up going with here, guys. I ended up going with the number 3, Fuerte Ventura, and there they are. I could not find them, but I went 3-8 in this spot, guys. I know it's not very creative by any means, and you can definitely feel, and of a lot of these races you can get a little bit creative, but I just didn't see it in this race, guys. You can see, as I'll make this a little bit bigger for you guys to see. But last race at Keeneland in the fall meet in October 13th of 23, But this is a very good race, guys. Only lost by 1.5 furlongs at 8-1. But look who he lost to. Highest distinction, hasn't come back to run yet, but ran a 96 that day and won the World Cup at Pimlico with 102 Beyer, winning by almost 4. Then you have a Credit who's come back to win at Turfway Park after a little bit of a hiatus there and still has not been back since. But then you got Beatbox, guys, and obviously Beatbox has come back to run extremely well at Fairgrounds, only losing the 2 Emmys, rest in peace, Strong Quality, and then beating Strong Quality in a very good 96 Beyer race for Cherie DeVoe. And then Ocean Atlantique, who is only race on turf since, has been that 97 Beyer in that optional claimer at Churchill. So a lot of next time out winners or runners that have come back very well. So Fuerteventura, guys, even off this little bit of a layoff, I'll show Jonathan Thomas's stats off the 180 plus day layoff, guys, and it's nothing short of pretty damn good. As I show right now, it is a little bit under, but still winning at 20% clip over the last 5 years, over 180 days for a horse that doesn't really stand out on numbers. But we always talk about how horses come over from the East Coast and generally have been a little bit better than these West Coast turf horses, whether it be field sizes or anything like that, as we touched on actually yesterday when I'm recording this on Tuesday on the Horse and Around show with Howard, how the Beyers on the West Coast, not inflated, but they tend to be a little bit better because of the small fields. Everyone kind of gets their desired trip in those races. But War at Sea is my clear second choice in the spot, guys. Going to come from a little bit farther back. I'll show the pace scenario at the end for this race. Going to come a little bit farther back, I think, than the 3, which might end up hurting him in the end. But you can see running at Santa Anita in the Lure, losing to Easter, which is not bad. Again, lost to Easter last time in the San Gabriel. But again, running grade 2s over here. Now coming back to this spot at Turf Paradise, definitely going to be an easier spot. War at Sea is definitely my clear second choice. And I went with the 8, guys, who's a little bit of a wild card. I think the 7 is probably going to get bet a lot. Justin Evans, who's a very good trainer over at Turf Paradise. This horse definitely has numbers that fit, although a little bit cut below my top 2. I went with a little bit of a wild card, guys. I went the number 8, Diamond Rim. Lopez, who's been absolutely killing it out there, winning at 32%. And Dan McFarland, who trains out on the West Coast as well, winning at 22%. This horse has no races on turf, nothing like that, but it has a little bit, not this time, obviously has given birth to a lot of good turf runners. And even though this horse hasn't run, has had an 80 Beyer on the turf in one of her progeny, which certainly makes sense at this spot. This is a complete flyer, guys. I think under the 3 and 2, there's a lot of different horses you can go, but I wanted to go with a little bit more of a price. And although this is 5-1 morning line, I think the dirt form versus the turf form, I think is going to show out in the betting. I'm expecting this horse to be a little bit towards that 8-1 spot. If this horse can run anywhere near even these 89 Beyers, 91 Beyer in the Iowa Derby in 22, anywhere near that on the turf, this horse can run on turf at all. He is definitely one to look out for. Diamond Rim, the number 8, is in my third spot, but I think this race is very clear cut on the top end, guys. I'm going 3-2. I think 2-3 works just as well, just completely depending on how you see the pace scenario, which I'm going to bring up here. They actually have the number 1 going out to front, Low Expectations, who also has basically no turf form. He's had 2 races both at one of the star allowance and one of the claiming level, and has done basically no running. The 3 and the 2 definitely stick out on numbers, as you can see here. And the 8's not far behind. I know Low Expectations is a better one, but I like the trip better for the 8 coming from mid-pack. You see the 3 and the 2 are going to basically be right next to each other. And although they don't have it as a hot pace, I think there's going to be a decent amount of speed to where these horses might just be a little bit of a cut above the others in this spot. So I'm going to go 3-2-8 and hopefully get by with the top 2. But guys, going to switch over to the race number 6, and that is the Arizona Oaks. That is a field of 7, the smallest field on the card, but one that's no short of competitiveness, guys. And I'll bring up my picks right now. I went 7-5-2 in this spot, going with the number 7, Madison Ray, for Espinoza and Peter Miller, shipping over from California. But the morning line favorite is number 2, Sakura Blossom, for Leonard Powell, also shipping over at 2-1. Pink Whitney for Doug O'Neill at 5-2. And then fourth choice would be Lady Mary Lou for Campo at 9-2. But guys, going to switch over to the DRF. I went with the number 7, Madison Ray. And there's one clear reason why, and I'll get to it right now. There looks like absolutely no pace in this race. Like there's some horses, there's a lot of horses around that 80, 82 to 84 range between the 4, 5, and the 7. But I'll tell you what, there's really no one that's really the 7's the only one that's shown that she wants to go straight to the lead. I think in this race, I think Peter Miller's just going to tell Espinoza, just go take the bull by the horns and just absolutely send. Because I'll go through it right now. Pink Whitney, you can see more of a stalking mid-pack type. The 2 stalking mid-pack type was up close here, but was at a $40,000 claiming level. Could show some speed. I would lean towards the mid-pack scenario for her. Pop Chart has 81, but definitely more of a middle runner for the home team at Turf Paradise. Zorina, another New Mexico horse for Carlos Moreno. Again, look, 84, so it has a higher earlier time form, but she does not like to run at anything that doesn't have a target in front of her. Whereas ZZ, I think, is going to be the other one that's going to want to go out for the lead in this scenario based on this first race that I watched. But is she really as fast as Madison Ray? And also the 6 ran into a fast pace, but was still pretty, I think, more of a mid-pack, definitely prefers a target. The 7 Madison Ray, guys, coming from for her first race in an open company, only losing by 4 at 12 to 1. Now comes into this spot going back on the dirt. I feel like this race is her best. Granted, it was at Los Al, but at the mile, I just feel like Madison Ray's going to really get out in front and just really take this one home. So Madison Ray is going to be my top pick. And playing with the pace scenario, I went with the number 5, whereas ZZ. This race at Los Al, I understand it's Los Al, state bred, I get it. But this race there's no world beaters in this race by any means. And just playing complete pace scenario wise, I went with the number 5, whereas ZZ in second, and number 2, Secure Blossom, the morning line favorite. If the race does end up falling apart, which I really don't see, guys. I really don't see. But if it does end up happening, that last race could be very good. A very good prep, second off a decent layoff for Leonard Powell now coming over from Santa Anita. I think Secure Blossom is definitely your most deserving morning line favorite out of anybody. But Pink Whitney, guys, I mean, yeah, you're just betting on her turf numbers, really. I mean, this 55, frankly, it's like there's no one in here that's a world beater, like I said, but the 55 ain't gonna cut it. And I'll show the pace scenario right now through the time form. And you'll see time form has it as favoring front runners, but it has the 7 and 3rd. I don't see that. I mean, they're all so close. I just think since she's done so well in the lead before, I think the complete direction by Peter Miller is going to tell her to go. And you'll see everyone is very close. But all these horses actually have the best numbers on the turf, but on the dirt, guys, the best number by far does go, or not by far, but does go to Madison Ray with an 86 in that race that I pointed out at Los Al. So I'm gonna go for the number 7 Madison Ray at 4 to 1 morning line. Hopefully she can just go and never look back at the mile at Turf Paradise. But of course we will see. And also it's not really too much to say right now because it's a shorter field, but that's a short run up to the first turn. So Madison Ray is going to have to go to be able to clear that inside, all the inside horses, which I think benefits that tripped angle like I talked about. I'm going 7-5-2 in this spot, guys, and we'll pick up the pace a little bit here. Race number 7, guys, the Turf Paradise Derby. This is the best race on the card that they have, a field of 8, and you can see, guys, I'm going with the number 4. EJ won the Cup, and it is the morning line favorite. I will tell you guys right now, this is the horse I'm basing off my entire day at Turf Paradise on, and I'll show you why right now. EJ won the Cup is my top pick and also the morning line favorite, but I'll show you guys right now. And I know coming out of a maiden optional 40K, I completely understand, but that 81 buyer, guys, and what he ended up getting on time form, with Free Stu coming over for Doug O'Neill, that number is head and shoulders and heels above everybody else in this field. I mean, 59, 60, I mean, really 71 back there, 46, 52, 47, 47, 64, but on synthetic. Like that 81 sticks out like a complete sore thumb in this spot, guys. And I love that EJ although there are other horses that want to go to the lead, I think EJ is just completely faster than them. I think he's going to go to the lead. And being that he's just the better horse, working completely forwardly for Doug O'Neill, I think this is actually a very good spot for EJ Won the Cup to be able to get some stake company, even though he just ended up winning a maiden optional at Santa Anita, granted at 2-5, basically 1-5, but the point is still there. EJ won the Cup, and I'll show the time form right now. It says fast pace, but it has EJ out in front. The number 8, Meeking, who I touched on, has the second best numbers on synthetic, is going to go out to lead with him. I just don't see this horse staying with him. I mean, coming from Golden Gate, running at a mile, this race was very good for him, but all the other races were not very good at all. And now this horse has to run on the dirt. Granted, I had Nyquist, but I don't like this horse has really never been on dirt in his entire life, and now he's going to be expected to run with a horse like EJ Won the Cup. I'm willing to go other places underneath. I want the number 1, Freeman. Even though this horse is still a maiden, this horse ran a very, very good race last time at Turf Paradise. And even though it's at Turf Paradise in a 59, this horse didn't even run in a maiden. This horse ran in an optional claiming 75 for non-losers of 2. And this horse almost ended up winning the damn thing at 10-1 with a very nice late kick. Could be one to be running late from mid-pack. And Last Call London, who I went with in third, is the other pretty decent pace play, but has really only been up close to the pace in pretty slow races, going 24-3, 23-4. I don't think they're going to go. I don't think EJ is going to be able to go that slow up front. So I think Last Call London's more of a mid pack, maybe just stalking off the leaders type of horse that might not be able to be fast enough to get the job done. Granted that he's basically capped out at 67, as this horse already has 10 races under his belt. And I mean, how many races? 8 races during his 2-year-old year, which is a little nuts, honestly, but running a lot of Calbreds 2-year-old stakes out on the West Coast. But I'm going with EJ Won the Cup, guys, and it is my strongest opinion on the entire card. I'm very much looking forward to him going to the lead, hopefully, and never looking back. But that is the horse that I'm going to center my entire play around on Thursday. But guys, now these 2 last races, man, we want to talk about a doozy. Here we go. The Phoenix Gold Cup Stakes, field of 12, as I'll bring up the picks right now. And I'm going with the horse all the way to the outside with the hometown connections at 9-2 morning line favorite, morning line. Number 6, Moose Mitchell, coming over for Papadromo at 12-1 in second. And Kingdom Heart, shout out one of my favorite video games of all time, at 8-1 morning line in third. And guys, I'm going to start out this by showing the pace scenario before we get into anything else. And as I'll show the time form right now, as my computer is just lagging up a storm, you'll see right there that this is a complete projected fast pace. Look at this: 120, 130 early, 117 early, 107, 123. If this is not a fast pace, guys, no pace scenario should be a hot pace. You have so many horses that want to vie for this lead here. And the number 12, Truth Seeker, it's not even on the screen right now. Like, deep closers. That I think this race is going to absolutely, positively, completely fall apart. And I don't think the 12 is going to be that far back. If he is, then I might have a little bit of an issue with it. But this horse has all the makings of a complete beneficiary of this asinine pace scenario. As I bring his PPs up right now, and on numbers, this horse is not far off. Running at Turf Paradise, ran at 83 last time, closing from basically where I think he's going to be that 8 lengths off scenario. I love this trip for this horse, and gets Corbett, who's 25% out there. Barraza's 20%, not bad at all this meet. This horse always comes with a run, and I think with an absolutely ludicrous pace in front of him, I think True Seeker is going to be the one to pick up the pieces, guys. But this race is an absolute doozy, like I said. 12-1 second choice. I went with Moose Mitchell, and this is a horse that was super good through the middle of 23 here, winning by 9-3-2. So in the middle there in the summer of 23 was very, very good. Showed a little bit towards the end on, I believe that was the Saturday after the Breeders' Cup, if I'm not mistaken. Ended up winning on that race. The last 2 have been pretty hard, even though they've been state bred company. Losing to the Chosen Vron is nothing bad. This is a much, much easier spot, albeit a complete, This horse can rate, which is something that I really like. I love these types of races. Looking, if there's one to get the jump on the 12 for me at a pretty decent price, I don't think this horse will be 12-1. Just seeing this horse's previous running lines, I'm thinking maybe mid high single digits at most for this horse. But if this horse can sit mid pack and get a nice stalking trip, I think Moose Mitchell is not really out of this at all, coming what I would consider a pretty decent drop in class. And Kingdom Heart, who I'm going with third, guys, this horse is going to be part of the pace scenario, but I think this is the horse that if anyone can survive this massive pace scenario, it is the number 2. You could see all the red running lines through the entirety, and not a whole lot of fading being done. Last time at Santa Anita, again, I'd argue this might even be an easier spot for this horse with lower level horses. This race at Los Al was super fast. They went 21-2 and 44 flat. This horse still held on. Again, it's Los Al. You can argue who did he beat. I completely get it. But Sorin has faith in this horse. This horse continues to drop pretty decent mid 80s buyers, which might be good enough to get in the money in this race. And Kingdom Heart is definitely worth a look at 8-1. But guys, like I said, there's so many different ways you can go. And I'll bring up the odds just to see. I mean, you have the number 1 at 6-1. Again, pretty much part of that pace scenario. The morning line favorite, guys, is the number 7, Tulane Trist at 7-2. And you want to talk about a horse that needs the lead, guys. Oh my gosh, this last race was a complete walk at Turf Paradise. I get 44 flat, but was completely by himself the whole way through. Never asked, never really, never was threatened really by any means. This race here had the race all to himself as well, even went slower, granted towards a mile, which obviously is not what this horse wants to do, but did fade, but did have it all his way. And this horse, if this horse doesn't have the lead, he's nowhere. And if this horse, I cannot envision a scenario where this horse gets on the lead by himself and just going to have this race his entire way. I'm completely against number 7, Tulane Trist in this spot, who might not even be the favorite because of this pace scenario. I would hate if the 12 ends up being the favorite. I wouldn't take him at favoritism, but if he's somewhere in that 9-2, 5-1 range, I definitely think the 12 is worth a play. But I'm completely against the morning line favorite in this race, Tulane Trist. I'm going 12-6-2 in this spot. But guys, the last race of the sequence is the Queen of the Green Stakes with a field of 10, with a lot of horses coming over from California. As we'll take a look at the Equibase right now. Sorry guys, I had to take a drink. But the number 2 Ascendancy is your very soft 4-1 morning line favorite. Ascendancy for Chavez, and second choice is going to be shared across the board here. You got 3 5-1s and 2 6-1s, being the 3, the 7, and the 10 all at 5-1, with the 5 and the 9 at 6-1. Guys, this is all over the place. I'll bring up my picks. I went with the number 7, Free and Humble for Espinoza and Miller, and I'll bring up the PPs right now as we'll go through the pace scenario first. This is another one, guys, where this pace looks to set up very nicely. There's a few that are a little bit faster than others, i.e., and that's what the time form shows, as you'll see the 5 going out to lead, but the 8 with the 6, 7, and 10 not too far behind, being type of tracking off the speed. But I don't like the speed necessarily in this race, guys, so I'm willing to look at any one of these horses for the win end, and I ended up with the number 7, and I'll scroll down right now with the number 7, Free and Humble. This last race, guys, in a completely cold pace down the hill. Not sure that that's what this horse wants to do. Going a mile at Del Mar was very good. And I mean, look at these horses, guys. Ruby Nell, closing remarks. Ruby Nell again. Dolce Zell, Stay and Scam. Like, this running line, guys, is completely out of the woodwork for this type of race at Turf Paradise. Although the buyers are not the highest by any means, I think this horse fits a hell of a lot, getting back to a little bit of an easier spot. What looks to set a pretty nice trip. There's a decent amount of speed up front, but not like a completely blitz pace scenario. I love the number 7, Free and Humble, and I would like her if she's somewhere up in that 5-1 range. Anything lower than 9-2, guys, I would not be willing to take, just based on that she's not one that likes to win too much. But I just think with the correct setup and with the drop uh, in class to Turf Paradise, I think Free and Humble makes a whole lot of sense. I went with the number 3 and second, Yankee Dollar, another one of those 5-1 shots. And there's not a whole lot of turf in this horse's form, but did win a Colonial on the lead. I think this horse is going to be more of a tracking type this time, maybe like third, fourth area, right next to the number 7. Not, but again, harder, definitely harder spots. Fairgrounds on a mile and 16th, running against Lovely Princess and Creative Cairo, another very nice filly. Tufani came back to win next time from this race at Fairgrounds, only losing by 4.25, coming from the absolute clouds after getting off slow. I think Yankee Dollar makes a lot of sense for the exact reason that the 7 makes a lot of sense. That the buyers aren't as high, but looks to just sit a very nice trip in a spot like this. And I don't think I'll envision anything like that Colonial trip where she was able to just basically gallop around the entire track and win for fun. But something like this middling pack with still being able to come up on horses that may be just a little bit inferior to the horses she faced at Fairgrounds on December 23rd. So I went with Yankee Dollar second, and the number 2 Ascendancy, your morning line favorite, I went with in third. They're going to bet this horse off this last race, guys, but this is Santa Rosa off a long layoff. I mean, I don't think I'll pull up the trainer stats right now, and off of a 180-day plus layoff, 2 for 22 in the last 5 years, guys. And even though that race is very, very good at basically what is the California State Fair, winning like that, I mean, realistically, it has shown it before, showed it on dirt. Like these numbers fit, guys, but off of a long layoff for these types of connections, I'm willing to look other places for a horse that's going to be bet down, probably even lower than 4-1. I think she still, I was right the first time. I don't have to take a drink for that one, but I think she still needs to be respected in a spot like this. But on the win end, I'm much more inclined to look other places, especially if the pace is not going to set up for her like it has so many times in the past. I'm going 7-3-2 with the number 7 Free and Humble on top. So, guys, that is going to do it for the sequence. Again, a very nice sequence, but like I said at the beginning, guys, my best bets are all going to revolve around the number 4. EJ won the Cup. Think he's completely faster than everyone else just based on numbers alone and with what I envision in the pace scenario. Coming off that last race, Free Suit comes over for Doug O'Neill. So you know this horse is definitely well meant for these connections. Omaha Beach, we all know how good he's been. EJ won the Cup is my best opinion on the entire card, and I'm going to try and pair him in doubles around him. I'm going to go early in the doubles. The number 5, Where Is ZZ, and the number 7, Madison Ray. Going to try and beat the 2 favorites to her inside, Sakura Blossom and Pink Whitney. Or you can go the far side, even though I'd be less inclined to go with the number 12, Truth Seeker, who I was talking about in the 8th race in the Phoenix Gold Cup. I just think that race is so much harder. Although, if you do have a good opinion in that race, you can definitely get paid, as there's 12 horses who are a lot of horses being very similar to each other in that spot. But guys, like I said, my entire day is going to revolve around number 4, EJ. EJ won the Cup. But guys, that is going to do it for this special episode. Again, it's just a very quick 30-minute complete run through of the late pick 5 of Turf Paradise. I just thought this sequence is way too good to not cover on the HHH, on Bettin and Boozin here on the HHH Racing Podcast. But like I said, the main thing is, guys, we don't cover Turf Paradise very often. These smaller tracks really need their due diligence. And when they have these really good days, I feel like there's a necessity to cover them. Especially when it's like Turf Paradise Derby Day with with an all stakes late pick 5 and anything like that. I feel like it needs to be covered. But I've been your host, Kyle Roscoe, and this has been episode number 66 of Bettin and Boozin here on the HHH Racing Podcast, covering the late pick 5 for Turf Paradise Derby Day at Turf Paradise in Arizona. And until next time, crush those bets, win those photos, and stay safe, everyone. We'll see you in the next one.